background doing the crimes they say, because at 32, and I've never heard of this mental illness, I went online. Someone at 32, they get mentally ill and...
That's one of the things I ever been diagnosed with any mental illness?
And that's what's hilarious, and there's no such diagnosis. This was something that the DA thought of. Now, or what's more believable, this man with Matthew Sears' history of stealing people's children's brains, robbing places for other financial institutes, forcing women to have sex with him because of his position, a part-time cop, not even protected by the unions, you know, and his history of burning vehicles, frauding insurance, that him and my wife, which he manipulated, did this horrendous crime for financial gain. I think if you look at the mathematical statistics, it will show that they did this horrific crime for financial gain. They thought they framed me for that sawed-off shotgun, and then I was getting 10 to 13 years, and then in the end it fell through. My wife now lives a very pathetic life, and
do you know how I would get in touch with her?
Yes, I give you her cell phone number and her address if you like.
Okay, yeah.
She's hiding out in Warrington, but like I said, I troubleshoot for a living, and I'm very good at it.
Okay.
She lives at 816 River Road in Warrington.
Okay.
And her phone number is 603
yeah.
490 3702. It's still active.
Okay. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So, I mean, the facts show that this guy has a history of lying. When he was brought into court, he lied. He always lies. He owns a... Matter of fact, if you go to the True Value store in Bucksport, his name is on the board for do not rent tools to. Because they have a rent-a-center.
Yeah.
He can't even be renting to a cop who can't even be trusted to return a tool because he's so arrogant, because he gets away with his crimes, is never held accountable because of his family positions. Also, I noticed that the police officers in this town, they shave their heads. They have a little organization going on. They get together late at night on Millville. They also get together at my neighbor's house over here. I have actually photographed them at my neighbor's house hanging out, and before I started photographing them, there was a lot of criminal conduct going on next door. 24-hour traffic in and out of it. Their house looked like a car dealership with all brand new cars. And so we started photographing. I have some of the photographs on my computer. And at first, the harassment, they were literally coming over here when I first got out of jail and I got my house. They were very unhappy. And literally, you'll meet one. His name is Robert Finley.
Mm-hmm.
My mom must have told you her incidences with him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't meet someone with an IQ below room temperature, and he's one of the few. And you'll notice that when you discuss anything with him, he would come over, literally knock on my door in front of a witness, and told me to get out of my house, get out, he's talked to the bank, and I'm not supposed to be here. At the time, I was talking to 3 different departments of my bank. They knew the truth of the Bucksport Police. I sent them the Matthew Sear article with his face, and I talk to him all day, every day. Matter of fact, I bring this great conversation topic with everybody worldwide now. Many colleges that I work with, nonprofit, they have this information you have, they have it. And I get emails from
the work you do with colleges, the pest control stuff?
No, actually right now I work at Home Co-op because of my record, but I also started the business, which is very predominant, through Bank of America.
Okay.
And it's through the IRS.
What's Home Co-op? I don't know what that is.
Home Co-op is a non-profit organization set to help lower income families purchase homes, have shelter, have food. They do a land trust, and they're just fantastic people. So they get missionary work done from all the colleges throughout New England, Boston University, Lowell Catholic, you name it, they're there. And it's my job to work with these volunteers. As I work with these volunteers, I feel it's my duty to take them to my house. I have coffee with them and lunch, and when they see the damages in my house, I tell them my story. I then email it because it's an RTF format to them, and they do their best to help people see the truth of my story. Since then, I met a legal writer out of Georgia who's a Christian who's going to rewrite my story. One person is another Christian out of California who's going to help me make a website. When you type up the name Bucksport, Matthew Sear, and then all this information you have and more comes up. But people need to know, and it's sad that you have to do it that way, because any other state, like New Hampshire when this happened, the state police picked up the ball and they held the people accountable who did stuff like this. This state has no accountability. They just let them do what they want when they want, to be able to take someone like me and make me sit in jail for 2 years based on, as you saw, the hearsay of one man, not even witnesses, saying I did something that was mathematically and scientifically incorrect, and the DA to be corrupt like Povich and say, okay, we could do it. Because they saw something that I had that they wanted, and that they get away with it all the time. That is, I can't believe I even live in that state.
And so Toothaker was appointed to represent
He was
you,
one
but
of
then,
them. He was a crook, and he's a
Okay.
no crook. He has records too, and
but was he appointed to represent you,
Yes,
but
he
then
was.
said he wouldn't do it
oh,
unless
he
you
just
paid him?
no. That's what his motto is. He has a bad history in the media that he's taken out of cocaine history. He hangs out with Michael Povich. He's Michael Povich's best friend. I study my enemies and watch them. I don't do hearsay. I watch them. I photograph them. I'll sit down. I'll talk to their friends nonchalantly. I'll talk to people that know them.
Can I ask you a question though? Because what you just said, like, it seemed like the stuff that you were upset about Matthew Sear doing to you, you do to other people.
I do that because you got to learn who you're dealing with. These
Okay.
people get away with violating people's federal and civil rights on a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
They get away by preying on those who are less fortunate. I'm one of the first people they ever chose that had a decent background. Usually, as like my mom told you about that woman, they choose people with such bad criminal backgrounds that those people, if they were ever to speak out, would never have a hill to stand on. And it's very sad. This community is known for doing that. We've met a woman from the WHCA, another victim of the Bucksport Police, and she's a reputable woman. She works for Washington County Agency. High clean record until this. Saw her lawyer give the cop, Sean Geegan, a handshake after they threw her under the bus. You know, I mean, and when I was in jail, what makes me such a person in the community is I don't drink, I don't smoke. When I was in jail, I did all the legal writing because I read the legal books for the inmates. I'm a very popular person in the community now because of this. A lot of people like me. I did their legal writing to the judges for them. I was always ethical. I prayed for them. Another person, I'll give you a Sam Leonardi's number. He's has a very reputation. He was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and he's chaplain to the state police. He's one of my best friends. He had some limited dealings with the Bucksport Police as well. Did my mother discuss the firearm incident with you?
Mm-hmm.
About what they're doing with firearms?
Yeah, but go ahead. I want to hear your version.
Basically, I have two legal firearms. One is the Mossberg 500A with polychoke, which is a very rare gun from the 70s, and the other one is a Spanish Civil Star handgun made for the Spanish Special Forces from Georgia, Russia. In the box, I have the registration of these firearms. I have the divorce releases of these firearms. They no longer have these firearms in their possession. If someone with authority went down there to ask for them to provide these firearms, they wouldn't. They were so set.
How do you know they don't have them?
Well, because they make up every excuse on earth not to hand them over to anybody I send down there to go get them, because I don't want them in their possession to take lives.
Do you think that I saw the letter from the AG's office that said, you know, we verified that they are there.
Who verified?
I don't. Well, I saw the letter from Brian McMaster.
Yeah.
So you don't believe that?
No, Brian McMaster's. He supposedly he's an ethical person. Anybody who allows this under his authority and allows it to go this far is not an ethical person. He's looking for one thing: the state. I believe in the Whistleblower Act. Your fellow officers who take an oath to uphold law start breaking the law and preying upon people like they do, and start outside organizations and weird.
What do you mean by outside or?
Where they shave their heads and they hang out with their police cars on Millville late at night.
Okay, what does that mean though, that they
That's
shave
weird.
their heads? I mean, do you think
To
they're
me, that's sort of, and they hang out at the Mason Hall.
okay?
You know,
So you think they're Masons or?
either they're Masons of a weird order. Who knows? I just find it very bizarre. You know,
Okay.
and really mentally. I'm not from here. I can't possibly ever relate of this place.
Okay.
No one I know can. I could give you give me a week. I'd make a great informant. I could photograph it for you. I could do whatever you like.
Okay.
But these people are conducting an illegal, unethical, immoral activities. What you have here meets the state requirements for probable cause for arrest. No one's arrested. Celeste Menkowicz is free. Matthew Bastone is free. Matthew Sear is free. This would actually meet the 98% requirements for federal indictment as well. And I know it does.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this 98% requirement. What is
The
that?
federal government doesn't indict unless they have a 98% indictment rule, which means they have 100% conviction. So if you're indicted by the federal